So for all y'all who are
Yes.
hopping in, we're talking about the big 5 personality factors today. And you will learn what they are as I will re-explain some of them along with as we do Flash's interpretation. But the big 5 is a very well-known personality theory and something that I've done a lot of research on myself personally, in terms of publication and general like academic research. So it's something that I feel, very interested in, and I'm interested to teach chat about and see what they think about it too. So that's why we've all been taking turns doing the tests and talking about them. So bam! Thank you, Steve, for posting a link to the test for anybody who is interested in taking the test. Y'all can follow Mr. Steve, Rect17's link in the chat. Thank you so much, Steve. And if you have questions about it or you want to talk about it on here, let me know. So this is what the results look like. Hopefully you guys can read the little things underneath, but I'll talk about them anyway.
Yeah. I can read it.
Okay. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. Also join Discord if you want to chat with the community. Thank you, Steve. Thank you. Amazing. My mod, Steve, everyone. Round of applause for Steve doing his job. Amazing. Okay, so this is Flash. Now, as you can see, there are 5 bars here, okay? And each one of these represents what's called the personality factor of the Big 5 theory. And a factor means that it doesn't represent one trait. It means that that factor is made up of many traits, which all correlate in some way, which are all similar in some way, to well describe the umbrella trait. Yeah. So basically, or well describe the umbrella factor. I should stick with my consistent terms. So these are all factors, and each one of these is made up of a series of traits that contribute to your overall score, your overall factor score. Anything around 60 is average or middle. Anything below is considered lower, and anything above is considered higher. So let's have a look-see at our dear Flash's numbers. Okay, so I will explain what each of these mean as we go.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah, Flash, I'll totally explain. And if I use any terms that you don't understand, tell me and I will re-explain them.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, to the best of my ability, because I know sometimes you look things up, but let me know if we need to do some translating.
Yeah, sure, don't worry.
Yeah. Okay, so first score here is neuroticism. Neuroticism, this would be considered a low score. And what neuroticism is a measure of emotional stability and vulnerability. So this means that Flash is likely to stay like pretty neutral. You don't get extremely emotional over small things. You're able to maintain your emotions when you need to. You're not super vulnerable to anxiety, which is interesting because I know you face OCD, and OCD is a very anxiety-driven disorder in itself, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder, that's interesting.
And that's one thing that I think I answered it like a little bit, and I consider it a little bit relative because as you explained me, basically, how can I say, like, I think even Taekwondo taught me to control negative things in life, and even when people try to stress me out and those type of stuff. But yeah, I have OCD, so that's a bit curious.
Yeah. And maybe, like, I don't know if maybe you separate the OCD anxiety from other anxieties. It's possible that you might do that, right?
Maybe.
Like, if you think about your overall, like, baseline stress level, maybe that's different from the times you're experiencing OCD. Like, are you separating those two things?
Well, now that you're talking about it, maybe, because I think when I'm stressed with something, even though it's a really bad thing or not, I think I can at least keeping calm, you know. I can think more rationally. And about OCD, I think it's just a constant anxiety, but yeah, it's not the same thing. I think it's what we talked earlier in chat about not having the ability to control the compulsions, but when we're talking about those life things, I think I can manage them very well.
Okay.
Even though they can, how can I say? Let me check the word, please.
Sure. Also, thank you for follow 1x Equinox. What's up? Welcome to the community. It's so lovely of you to join us. Thank you.
Yeah, even if they can influence a bit in my OCD anxiety levels, let's say like this. But yeah, I think it's a bit different though, because I faced bad things in my life, lots of them.
Right.
I think as every person,
Mm-hmm.
we all have our ups and downs. And yeah, Taekwondo, one of the 5 principles of Taekwondo is auto control. To be able to being able to control our impulsions and our techniques and so ever. So yeah, I think I could have separated a bit, and now that you talked about it, so yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like what could be the explanation for a lower
Yeah.
neuroticism score, right? Because yeah, I feel like based on even like times we've talked in the past, I feel like you do have a lot of methods for like controlling your emotion and like staying stable when you need to. So yeah, perhaps the OCD anxiety, I think it shows that the OCD itself is not a core part of your personality, right? Because that the
Yeah.
OCD in general is actually not showing up in that result, because OCD would usually imply quite a lot of emotional some emotional instability that's influenced by anxiety, right?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, and yeah, I don't think it's kind of part of my personality, because since I remember, like about my personality, like I've never been like that, but from 3 years till today, more or less, I developed that OCD thing, and I don't know why. If it was because my life's problems are entering in high school and not being prepared to the difference in the school subjects, in the difficulty of school subjects. I don't know why, but I just developed it, and well, I don't like it, of course, as nobody with this like don't like, I think. And yeah, I developed lots of ways to try to avoid it and overcome it every time I can.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you're working very hard to
Yeah,
understand
I am.
and yeah, challenge the OCD behaviors. But I think yeah, what's really cool about that is this like supports the theory that personality is stable and that personality is not necessarily defined by your mental health challenges, right? It's not necessarily defined by disorder or by diagnoses. Yeah, because OCD is a very high anxiety disorder, and it's cool that it still didn't come out in Flash's personality assessment, which also shows you that like personality is somewhat consistent, right? Because there are all these theories that say personality does not change, which I believe to a degree. Like I think it does change over time to some degree, but this is like, it's kind of really cool to see this, Flash, actually, because this is a really good example of how people's mental disorders do not define their personality. Personality is a very separate thing from the issues that we're facing. I'm very want to heavily stress that that personality is not something that like makes you have a disorder. It can make you more susceptible to certain disorders, and it can determine how you deal with those disorders once faced with challenging them. But yeah, it's cool that like I don't think this defined your personality. I'm really glad that like it didn't show through. I would like expect it not to, but I wasn't sure if it was gonna not to. But this is cool that like it's not a part of your personality.
Now that you talk about it, if it represented my personality, I think I would be more, because I do Taekwondo and I do it for lots of years. I think I would be more aggressive to people, let's say like this. I don't think if it makes sense, because if I'm stressed, I answer a little bit rudely to people. I would, if that was part of me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm being like logic but if this has some sort of logic, but that can show that that doesn't fit in my personality. And one more thing that you made me remember, and we could talk about this in other time because it would be a long conversation, that it's basically schizophrenic people, or people that see that actually see things that we call them crazy and whatever. And we could really ask, what if they really see, and we're just like, saying that they are just crazy, and defining them by their disorder or gift. You know what I'm saying? It's a thing that we humans are not kind of ready to understand. So yeah.
Yeah, we could totally go on a whole nother talk about that. Maybe one day we will, Flash. Maybe one day we can
Maybe
go down.
I'm
I'm super happy to talk about anything, so that's something we want to go
me
down.
too.
But yeah, let's finish the rest of the personality stuff. But that's cool. Yeah, I like this so far. Okay. Extroversion. Okay, so extroversion would be considered like medium high, which would indicate that you are okay in social situations. You are also okay on your own. You're somewhere between introversion and extroversion. You lean towards the company of others, like talking to others, or being in small groups, like that is comfortable for you and you're okay in social situations. That's what that score would indicate.
Yeah, I don't think there's like much to say. Of course, for example, I'm the type of person that if I'm alone at the bar, for example, and I see a small group of people, and I'm not that person that would go to join them, because I don't have the. I don't want to say. Okay, let me see. I don't have the. I don't want to say courage, but you know what I mean. But when I start to talk to people, and I talk to people easily, I can just talk like about whatever I want, and with just cool, in a cool way. Not I don't know the expression, like
You're cool. I'm cool.
no, not cool. Being in a comfortable way, because in Portuguese we use the cool expression to to define the making ourselves comfortable in talking with each other.
Yeah, we use that too. That sounds relatable. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there's nothing much to say. I think it's correct.
Okay, cool. Cool, Flash. Cool. All right. Openness to experience. Yeah, these are very mid-tier things. So also like sometimes a little bit difficult to interpret, but yeah, okay. So in terms of openness, you like to be creative. You are open to new ideas. There are
Indeed, I am.
there are some ideas that you're a little bit rigid with, like some things that you like to stick with or that you like to teach to others. But in general, you're open to other people's opinions, and you like learning from other people. And you like to explore, and you're not super afraid of new things.
Yeah, I think it's correct too. Sometimes, yeah, I wouldn't say I'm not open, but I wouldn't like act or do something because of the education I've had since I was born.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't do. For example, I like to. I don't know the expression you use in English, but I like to do in inverted commas shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I like to be with my friends and be just having fun, but I have a lot more respect to the other people, and to not hurting them in some ways that most of the people with my age don't do. They don't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think this kind of like ties into the next thing we're gonna talk about as well, which is like agreeableness and conscientiousness. So agreeableness is like your friendliness and compatibility. You are able to get along with people quite well. You don't prefer aggression. You don't like to be very aggressive. You tend to avoid conflict if possible. Yeah.
Always. Every time.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been always taught like that in Taekwondo, for example, and even my parents.
It's
So
funny how all of us in martial arts, were always taught. I remember, like, yeah, karate, Muay Thai, boxing. It was always the same. Okay, maybe boxing not so much. They didn't say this so much, but in the more like Western or Eastern martial arts and stuff like that, they always taught you, yeah, don't
yeah, the
don't be
Eastern,
aggressive.
yeah,
The Eastern martial arts.
Occidental martial arts, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then the last
Indeed.
one is conscientiousness, which is a measure of like openness to intellectual things, learning new stuff, your ability to problem solve and be organized, to be responsible, and that stuff's pretty good. That's like it's pretty high conscientiousness. So yeah, overall, like, do you feel like you can be like fairly organized, fairly responsible, fairly into like academic stuff?
Yeah, I've always been like a good student without the needing of studying. I only started studying in high school because I wanted to have the averages to university. But since I started studying, I've been organized in my way. I'm not going to say only organized because some people can't understand my notebooks and my organization, but I can understand my own organization. I can understand how I put things, and
Cool.
So yeah, and I think that's it.
Okay. So overall, this profile makes some good sense for you?
Well, it does. But about what you've told earlier, that there are some people that defend that these are the only things that define a personality. I wouldn't like agree in 100% because, for example, in neuroticism,
Yeah.
as I told you, there are like those ways we can like go that would not say the real thing about us. The relativeness I talked about earlier. That I can have, for example, in neuroticism, a lower level of neuroticism, but actually I have anxiety and I have OCD, but I can at the same time manage my anxiety in life situations. I think it's a bit more than that, but according to my personality and according to that test, I think it relates
Cool.
one thing to another. It's compatible.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Flash, for showing us
Well,
your
thank you.
results. Yeah, no problem.
The one thing,
Yeah, this was
really
fun and exciting.
always a good experience.
Awesome. Okay. I'm gonna yeah, thanks so much, Flash. I'm gonna get Jenny
Thank you.
set up with her results. So I will
Good luck, Jenny.
I will talk to you soon, Flash. Thank you very much.
Thank you. See you.